Hello and welcome back to episode 2 of my 24-hour nano tank challenge. In episode 1, I set up the tank and all of the equipment, cleaned and prepared the sand. This stuff is milky. Drilled frag plug holes in the rockwork and filled the tank with salt water. Now that only took just over 2 hours, but I then had to let the tank settle overnight, which took up the vast majority of the 24 hours I have to complete the challenge. And what's worse is that episode 1 was the easy stuff, and I have a ton of work to do in this video if I'm going to get the tank looking like an established reef tank in just one day. So now I'll hand over to day 2 Alex to tell you how the challenge is going.
Good morning. We are now at 9:30 on Monday morning and I have wasted a lot of time on this challenge sleeping. We are currently just under 18 hours into the challenge, so I've only got 6 hours left, which is really not that much time, and I've still got quite a few things to do. Before I turned the camera on just now, I tested my salinity, which is the most important thing to do today, and that came in at 34 parts per thousand, which is pretty much perfect. And I tested that last night just before I went to bed, and it was the exact same reading, so I know that it's stable. In terms of temperature, same story. So you can see the little temperature gauge here is showing at 25 degrees, and it was the exact same temperature last night again before I went to bed. 25 degrees is perfect, and I know it's stable because I tested it last night and it gave me the same reading. Now a minute ago I said that salinity was the most important thing, but actually that's probably the second most important thing behind getting the tank cycled. Now given that I'm going to be having fish and corals in this tank within the next hour or two, I need to make sure I'm doing that right. So there are two things I'm going to be doing. First off, I have this little Seachem ammonia alert, and this will sit in the tank permanently, so if there is any ammonia whatsoever, I will know about it straight away and I will be able to take action. However, I don't want ammonia at all, and I'm not going to have any ammonia. So now let me take you down to my main tank to show you how I'm going to achieve that. And here we are with my main tank. Now the lights are currently off because it's nice and early, so I'll put a quick clip over the top of this so you can see what it looks like when the lights are on full. And in this tank, I have a secret stash of something that is going to help me get the tank cycled. Let's take a look. So I'll move this out of the way, and we have down here a stash of fluval bio balls. And these have been in the tank for about 6 months. This tank is about a year old. The bio balls have been in there a long time, so they are completely covered in all of the good bacteria that I need to make sure I don't get any ammonia. So what I'm going to do is pull out a load of this stuff and put it in the filter section of the little tank upstairs. In goes my nice, well-seeded bacteria, and wedged down there, right into the water. Off you go, job done. That is it then, the tank is now cycled and ready to accept fish. As you can see, I've turned the light on so you can see what it looks like. It looks really good. Now, if you're worried that I might be rushing this with cycling the tank so quickly and you're wondering if that really does work, let me set your mind at rest. Now I have a quarantine tank that sometimes I need to set up in order to buy fish and treat them, or in order to treat sick fish if they get a disease in my main tank. And this is the exact same method I use when I set up that quarantine tank. In fact, that's the only reason I have that biomedia in my sump at all, is because it's seeded with all the bacteria. Been in there 6 months, it's got loads in there, so it's perfectly capable of accepting fish, and there will be no problems whatsoever, although of course I've got my little ammonia alert to let me know if there are any problems. However, it's not quite as simple as that, because there is one good reason why you shouldn't copy me and do exactly what I've done with this video today, and I'll tell you that at the end. Now I just need to clean the tank quickly, then it's time for the fun stuff, get some fish and corals. And there we go, my best wax on, wax off Danielson impression done. We are now ready to go and get some fish.
With the tank cycled then, I headed over to my local fish shop, Reef Keeper Moss End, who very kindly agreed to loan me some livestock for this challenge. And the fact that I was borrowing this stuff gave me a double incentive to make absolutely sure I look after everything really properly. Now Reef Keeper is one of the best shops in the country, and I'm in there every weekend looking for goodies, so if you ever see me in there, come and give me a little fist bump and say hello. Now they're a very friendly, chatty bunch, which is usually a very good thing, but today that cost me precious time on the challenge, so when I noticed what time it was, I chose my corals, then raced back home.
Okay, I've just got back from my local fish shop, Reef Keeper Moss End, and they've loaned me a bunch of fish and corals to fill the tank out with. However, the bad news is I lost track of time. I got chatting to them and I had a cup of tea, and we are now at the 21-hour mark almost, 20 hours, 43 minutes. So I've only got 3 hours to get these acclimated, get them in the tank, get the lights on, and get the corals out and looking healthy. So I've really got to crack on with this. I need to acclimate these, which means I need to make sure, firstly, that they're at the right temperature. There's not enough space in this tank for all the bags I have in here, so they're going to have to go in the sump of my main tank. Let's do that now. All right, we've got about 7 bags in there now, packed full of corals with my little clownfish as well, really cool clownfish. I'm gonna let them sit in here for half an hour to get the temperature right, then I'm gonna check the salinity, and then we'll know if we need to acclimate them before they go in the tank. All right, the corals are now temperature acclimated, so they're ready to go in the tank. Then I can go downstairs and check on the fish, check the salinity to see if that matches, and if it does, he's going in the tank too. Okay, I've just tested the water that the clownfish are in, and it is coming in at 31 parts per thousand. We've got 2.5 hours left, so still plenty of time, but this needs to be closer to 34 before I put them in. So now what I'm going to do is start scooping water from the tank into the bag for the next half an hour or so to get it closer to the level of the tank. It's time for the moment of truth, and we're going to find out how close the salinity is. Now, I don't mind if it's not exact, as long as it's closer than 31 was. I've been acclimating it for about the last half an hour, just adding a bit of water from the tank to the clownfish. Let's see what that's done. 32, a little bit lower. I'm going to keep going for another 10 minutes. All right, final test, and I'm hoping will be more like 33 parts per thousand now. So let's see if we're ready to get the fish in. Boom, 33. Right, we're good to go. Let's get him in. Okay, fellas, in we go. There you go. That's the female, slightly bigger. Gonna have to get the boy. Come on, my boy. Gently, gently. Oh, there we go. Going to a better place. Good lad. There we go. Fish in the tank. All right, I'm going to quickly tidy this up, then I'll come back. So there we go then, fish in the tank. Look how clear the water is. It looks fantastic. So this is almost done now. Actually, most of the corals, they're starting to come out slowly. Some of them are out already, others are going slowly. So what I'm going to do is put the lid on, turn the light on to ramp it up slowly, and then we'll see if it's ready by the end of the 24-hour period. Let's just check on the time. Okay, so we have just over 2 hours left. That is 2 hours then for the corals to come out under the light when I turn that on. All right, lights then. First touch goes all white, looks good. Second touch goes all blue, and the third touch, bang. The lights are on really dim. So now what's going to happen is that they're going to ramp up over the next 15 minutes to a normal level, and then we'll see if the corals start coming out. So here we are, the final update then. We are shy of the 24-hour mark. Look at that, 23 hours 42 minutes is that? 23 hours 43 minutes just coming up to, and I've completed the challenge within a day. The tank is completely set up. All the corals are out and looking absolutely fantastic. There is one coral at the back, it's a gonny, a flower pot coral that isn't quite out. They're quite fussy corals anyway, so that's not much of a surprise. But everything else is looking really good, and even the clownfish are coming out for the camera to say hello. Now, while I have fully stocked this in a single day, it will still look even better when it's properly grown out. And actually, I recently went to TMC headquarters, and they had an established version of this that had been running for about a year or so that was nicely grown out, and the corals were looking a little bit more grown out than these are. So that gives you a really good idea of how this can look. And I have to say the corals look really good. The light is quite basic, but it shows the corals off nicely, it shows the fish off really nicely, and it just makes the tank look great. I've got the ammonia alert around this side. It is showing 0 parts per million, so we're completely safe. So my seeded bacteria has done the job nicely. However, now I've shown you all the fun stuff, I need to tell you the sensible part. While it has been completely possible to set this up totally safely in terms of health for the fish and corals in a single day, that is not a good idea for 2 reasons. Firstly, while the tank is cycled in terms of its ability to process ammonia, which means the fish are okay, the rest of the tank is a completely blank canvas. And because I have corals in here, if I were to run this long term, I would need to have the lights on at normal intensities right from day one. And what that will do is allow all the photosynthetic pests to start taking hold. So this will look great for a couple of weeks, but after that, when algae starts to take hold and when you get a diatom outbreak, suddenly the corals will have to compete with other photosynthetic organisms, and that's when things will start to go south. Now, while some of the corals might be okay, a lot of them will suffer, and it will make it really difficult to keep them healthy throughout that entire period, and you're better off just letting the tank run on its own for a month or so without any corals in it, and with the lights either turned off or at a very low level to let the rock and sand slowly establish itself. And the second reason it's a bad idea is because it actually isn't that much fun. Don't get me wrong, setting this up in the last 24 hours has been an absolute blast and I've really enjoyed it, but a reef tank is about a journey. And the reason reef tanks are so much fun is because you are constantly tinkering. You'll go into your local fish shop every week and you'll see a new fish that you like, or a new shrimp or crab or snail or a new coral, and you slowly build it up over time. Whereas this, while it looks cool, that's it. There's no more involvement for me. I'd just be sitting back and letting it grow, and actually that would be pretty boring, particularly when the ugly stage kicks in and the corals start to suffer. And that is why I'm going to let all this stuff settle for a couple of days, then take all the livestock back to my local fish shop before breaking the tank down. Now, I'll put a link in the description for this tank. It's not an affiliate link, so I don't earn any commission. It's just a really good tank to get started on, particularly if you're a beginner.
Now, there are still 2 videos to come in this tank build series. Next week I'll be showing you how to upgrade the light to something a bit more sophisticated, but I'll also tell you more about the stock light and why you almost certainly don't need to upgrade. And for the final video of the series, I'm going to get hold of a Fluval Evo 13.5, which is the TMC First Wave 45's nearest competitor, and I'll talk you through all of the pros and cons of both tanks to help you decide which one is right for you. So make sure you like and subscribe for that, and if you've got any questions, let me know in the comment section below, and until next time, happy reefing.